Hey guys, welcome to the first review on the Everyday Cigar channel. Starting with one of my favorites out of Havana, and it's the Por Larranaga Petit Corona. It's a relatively small stick, but incredible flavor, sweetness. There's a lot of honey, especially on the nose. A pretty simple beer, actually. It's a Sam Adams Boston Lager. Not too complicated, a bit bitter to sort of play off the sweetness in the cigar. Quite hoppy, but with a little bit of a sweet finish on it, so it should play nicely. And we're listening to one of my favorite albums today. It's known as the Beano. There's not really a name to it. It's Eric Clapton and John Mayall. And the reason why it's known as the Beano is because Clapton in the cover, he's reading a copy of the children's magazine, the Beano. Yeah, they were a bit weird in the 60s naming things. So it's 1966, and it really revolutionized blues. And it defined Clapton as Clapton. The quality of the tobacco is going to be there. It comes from the Vuelta Bajo region, so it's top level leaf. You can see that there are some veins running through the wrapper. No gaps though, which is great. Yeah, overall firmness is nice. It's just right where you want it. Not too firm, not too soft. There aren't really any soft spots. Aroma to the nose, sweet, very, very, very sweet, but not sickly sweet. It's more like a sugar cane almost. I'm getting some grass through there, some honey. So, just give it a bit of a dry draw, see what flavors we can get from it. Yeah, I'm getting that sort of grassy, but sweet grass. Lots of toasted tobacco through the dry draw as well. The draw itself is nice. There's not too much resistance. It's what I would call, I guess, a standard Cuban draw. So the sweetness is there. Grassy notes are there that we were talking about before. And it's not harsh. It's very light in terms of flavor. I would put it at just below medium in terms of body. Yeah, something kind of fruity. Maybe like white grapes or something like that. See, it's burning perfectly, straight all around. The draw is quite nice, and yeah, I'd put it at a touch under medium in terms of body. So a great afternoon cigar, hot summer day. You don't want something too powerful that's going to push you around too much. This is it. The sweetness is still there, but there's quite a lot more spice to it now. But I wouldn't necessarily say like a big bold spice, like a cayenne or paprika or anything like that. I'd go for more black pepper almost, especially through the nose. Yeah, yeah. There's definitely quite a lot of spice there. But the sweetness, it's honestly, it's like honeycomb. It's got that perfect sort of velvety, smooth, sweet smoke to it. And honestly, I mean, that's why it's one of my favorites. Again, I mean, the burn is perfect. It's ashing quite nicely. It's got a beautiful white gray ash to it. But what I'm really hoping to see is I'm hoping to see that spice develop in the next third. I'd love to see some wood come through, a bit more of that grass. Yeah, and I really hope that sweetness stays. Because it's one of those cigars that, I mean, as far as consistency goes, you know that when you pick up a PLPC, you're going to be definitely getting some sweet notes. I would still put it at under medium. It hasn't quite reached medium. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyable smoke. Thoroughly enjoyable smoke. And what's great about this is that it doesn't take things over. You don't have to think about it too much. It's not one of those cigars that just dominates the conversation or dominates what you're doing. This is why this cigar is one of my favorites. That spice, that pepper that I was talking about earlier, it's definitely developed. It's crept up to medium now, medium in body. The draw is still fantastic. Good amount of smoke, but yeah, definitely it's spicier. It's got a bit more woodsy. There's some cedar in there, it's quite nicely as well. It's taking a nice trajectory. No surprises, no nasty right curves, and yeah, quite overall nice smoke. I mean, at this point, I would rate it out of 100. I'd put it at, I don't know, probably 90, 91. There's not much change between this third and the second third. It's still got those sweet, grassy, kind of honey-like undertones with a lot of pepper in there. There's some wood on the nose, but I mean, it's definitely not a complaint. I mean, it's really nice. I mean, you can tell I'm almost down to the nub here. I'm gonna have to pull off the band pretty soon. But yeah, just really well balanced. It's not going too sharp at the end. It's not getting bitter like a lot of cigars. So yeah, definitely I would suggest this to anyone starting out. As a first cigar, I think this is one of those ones that would be really pleasant to start out with, because it's not going to surprise you. It's going to take you through an incredible journey, but it's not going to sucker punch you in the face with a huge amount of nicotine or with really strong, bold flavors. It's definitely more reserved, more understated, but that's why it's so smokable. That's why it's so versatile. Right now it's a 91, 92 for me. Again, it's been consistently one of my favorites. It's not one of those cigars that really blows your mind, but it's consistently great, and that's where that 91, 92 comes from. The amount of smoke is great. It sits up nicely. It's not too abrasive. As you can see here, I'm getting down quite low, but it's not getting bitter or harsh at all. It's maintaining that level that I started the final third off with, just at medium. And yeah, there's lots of spice in there. There's a little bit of earth now. There's a little bit of earthy characteristics. Toasted tobacco, definitely. There's a lot of nice toasted tobacco notes in there. But still, what I'm really impressed and happy about is that it's kept that sweetness throughout. It's not as sweet as the opening third, which is great because I don't think I would have been liking it as much if it was as sweet. You know, you want to be able to taste history in there as well. You know, like, I mean, I don't want to get too pedantic or anything, but like, you want to be able to taste what the blender has wanted to get at. You know, there needs to be again some history, some passion in there. And this is that cigar that I go to, that I know is going to have that. Again, it's not a big, bold, brash, in-your-face flavor profile. But then again, it's not supposed to be. It's not blended to be that. But on the other side of that, you can really taste the history of Por Larranaga, I think, in this cigar. There's another PL that I'd love to get to. It's the Monte Carlo. That's a lot like this in that you can really taste the essence, I think, of the brand. And this sort of this size generally isn't reviewed all that much, but I find that with a lot of the smaller sticks, if they're made right, if they're rolled right, if they're blended right, you can really get the essence of the brand. And I mean, it's the same with the Partagas shorts. I'd love to do a review on the Partagas shorts as well, because it's one of my favorite cigars because of the fact that I think it's so quintessentially Partagas. And it's the same with this. Yeah, I find that this is what you want in a Por Larranaga. It's got that sweetness, it's got that honey, but sort of picking it up a little bit. It's got that spice, it's got that pepper, it's got a bit of flair to it. And it goes actually quite surprisingly well with the Sam Adams. With the Sam Adams, it starts off right at the front of the palate with bitter hops. Bit toasty. But then it comes in with a bit of sweetness underlying. Price? $15, $16. I don't think that there's too much of a better deal in terms of Cuban hand-rolled cigars. Again, you can go a little bit lower in price. You can knock off about $5 on that and go for a Partagas Mille Fleur, something along those lines at around $10 or $11. But I think this is one of the better deals for Cubans. So once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and stay tuned for my next reviews. Don't really have anything planned just yet, but if you have any suggestions, comments, questions, anything, send them right along. And yeah, cheers. Have fun.